The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And this is Rita Cosby filling in for my friend Roger Stone. And boy, we got some big news. And just a little bit ago, Caroline Leavitt at the White House announcing that President Trump will make his decision on what he's going to do with Israel and Iran, whether he will go into Iran within the next 2 weeks. And that word is important, within the next 2 weeks. Knowing President Trump, as I have for decades, that could mean that maybe as early as tomorrow. It could mean as early as tonight. It could mean he's waiting for 2 weeks. What it clearly shows is that all these people who were saying, oh, this is a warmonger who's going to hurry up and take us to World War III, clearly that is not the case. He is willing to listen. He's willing to talk. It looks like the Iranians at least are claiming that they want to talk. I put claiming in quotes, you guys, because, boy, we've seen the history with Iran. You can't really trust anything, of course, that they're saying. But at least he is saying, I want to be measured. I want to be correct. I want to think about it. And he's also being definitive. He's putting down that 2-week marker. And you know darn well President Trump is not going to want to go past that marker. So this is a moment for history. What do you think is going to happen? And is that also maybe a deflection? Because President Trump knows the game all too well, too. Maybe they're thinking, oh, boy, we got 2 weeks. We can kind of do whatever. Meanwhile, they're planning and they're moving the B-52s and they're moving the USS carrier fleets into the area. There are already many in that area. So he is gearing up and he is ready. Maybe he's ready to strike as early as tonight. I wouldn't put any of these scenarios outside of the mind of President Trump because he is brilliant and he is a great statistician and a great man of knowing how to play the game with some very bad actors in the world. So what do you think is ahead, you guys? 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. This is Rita Cosby filling in for my dear friend Roger Stone. Well, here is Caroline Leavitt. Take a listen because it could not be more interesting and more clear. It is clearly the big story of the day. And here is what Caroline Leavitt did when she led her White House press briefing just a few hours ago.
I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks. That's a quote directly from the president for all of you today.
And the White House press room was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Is something going to happen tonight? Is it going to happen in the next 5 minutes? Caroline Leavitt said, I can just tell you what the president said. This is a direct quote from the president of the United States. So clearly there is something afoot. First of all, I again give him credit that he's at least willing to see, will they come to the table? Will they give up their nuclear enrichment? Will they full-fledged allow inspectors to come in? It can't just be, hey, oh, we gave it up. There has to be verifiable proof. And President Trump, I believe we are lucky to have this man for this moment in history. Can you imagine if we had President Joe Biden or Obama? They were sending in pallets of cash. They were allowing Iranian oil not to be sanctioned. So they were selling it to China and Russia, and that's how they were funding their war machine. I mean, it's pretty common sense. I could pull a 2-year-old off the street and they would say, maybe don't give that person money. Don't give a bad person money. Guess what? You know what's going to happen. So I applaud President Trump for being strong, but I also applaud him for showing restraint because he is leading with, again, that sort of Reagan mantra of peace through strength. It's actually a perfect combination. He is bringing in carrier fleets into the region. He's talking about the bunker busting bombs at that big nuclear facility, the one that's 300 feet deep. So you got all that stuff. And he's clearly showing we're ready to strike. This is the guy who took out Soleimani, so he doesn't mess around. And then on the other hand, he's also saying, look, if they're willing to come to the table, I'm going to give you one last chance. We're also hearing from Israel that they are saying maybe there needs to be a regime change. They're equating the Ayatollah there to Hitler. So they're basically gearing up and saying, maybe we might take out the Ayatollah. They've taken out the intel chief and then the guy who replaced the intel chief after he was killed 4 days later. So anybody gets offered the intel chief in Iran, I think they're kind of turning it down. I think they're looking elsewhere, guys. They're like, no, I'll be a dog catcher instead. I don't think we need to be the intel chief. But today, we're also hearing from the Israeli defense minister who said that the Ayatollah is in their sights. And you know darn well, if you are the Ayatollah of Iran right now, you are shaking in your boots. You're apparently, the word is that he's in some bunker somewhere south of Tehran, but you know that he is definitely panicking. And here is President Trump yesterday, because this is really important. President Trump understands the gravity. There are reports out there, you've heard them, that, some people in the Republican Party say, no, we shouldn't be involved or we shouldn't even be thinking about it. President Trump understands, first of all, if he could bring them to the peace table and have them give up their nukes, that would be an enormous deal. Not that I would ever trust it. And if they don't do it, guess what's going to happen within 2 weeks, if not a lot sooner? It's going to look like a pile of rubble. And President Trump says he cannot mess around. And that is because he believes that Iran is weeks away from a nuclear weapon. Weeks away from a nuclear weapon. Take a listen. This is what he told all of us yesterday.
Well, I don't want to get involved either, but I've been saying for 20 years, maybe longer, that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I've been saying it for a long time. And I think they were a few weeks away from having one. And they had to sign a document. I think they wish they signed it now. It was a fair deal. And now it's a harder thing to sign. It's a lot of water over the dam. But, it's I say it very simply. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. Too much devastation. And they'd use it. I believe they'd use it. Others won't use it, but I believe they'd use it. So that's it. It's very simple as far as I'm concerned. They can't have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, it is pretty simple. And anybody out there who says, let's not really worry about it, if indeed he has the intelligence that they are weeks away. And earlier today, we were talking with General Blaine Holt and Gordon Chang and a whole bunch of other folks who are deep entrenched in intel. And they're really worried that not only, even if they're close, it doesn't mean they're not going to get it, that they could potentially put something in sort of a makeshift form and maybe potentially put it on a container, on a shipping container. What about putting it on the back of a Toyota pickup and moving it across the border? What about, there are so many things. There are so many scenarios, putting it on a 747. This is a scary stuff when you're dealing with some rogue actors. This is not movies. This is real life. And the stakes could not be higher. And I believe President Trump, if he sits there and says, yeah, they are weeks away, darn well they are weeks away. He would not put that out there if he did not believe that that was indeed the case. So what do we need to do now? And what do you think this president's going to do? I think it's brilliant that he is allowing a little more forgiveness. I'm going to give you one last chance. He's not being hasty. He's being smart. But on the other hand, he also knows that Iran has had such a history of dragging this out and lying to the international inspectors for years upon years. So President Trump is trying to bomb the heck out of them via Israel to bring them to the peace table. And maybe he can do it. Maybe they'll be like crawling and begging and saying, oh boy, we didn't really think it was going to be that bad. But boy, it is. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222 is the number to call. And let's go to Susan on line one. Susan, this is Rita Cosby filling in for my friend Roger Stone. Go ahead, Susan.
Oh, gosh, it's good to hear you at any time of the day or night. And I did want to say I listened to you with on Cats at 5, and that you so deserve that award that you got for being, I guess, a great co-host. Is that?
I got 2 Gracie Awards. Cats and Cosby got 2 Gracie Awards. One for best show, and I got for best co-host. And so, which is really neat, and I feel very blessed. I work with the greatest team in the world. Thank you, Susan. Now, what do you think is going to happen here?
Definitely amazing. You're like the glue on there, and you're just so energized. But no, this is it. My concern. Well, there's so many because this is just such an unfolding situation with such great, upside and downside. But with this memo that Tracy Galbert read about how
you mean Tulsi Gabbard, right? The former director of national intelligence, right?
Yes, and she was reading a memo, I guess, under oath, probably information that she received from our intelligence agencies, and their conclusion was that Iran was not involved with doing these actions towards nuclear weapons. And in that report, if I'm not mistaken, it said they hadn't been for several decades. Right.
And you know what's interesting? I'm so glad you brought that up, Susan, because President Trump was asked about that. First of all, I remember when Tulsi Gabbard testified. I like Tulsi. I know Tulsi. She's a great gal, and a smart gal. Clearly, she was looking at something that President Trump strongly disagrees with. And I trust President Trump just because he probably has a lot more information. I can tell you that Tulsi Gabbard was definitely rebuffed by President Trump this week in a very stunning move. President Trump came out and said, the reporters were asking him on Air Force One, in fact, we're saying, bringing up the question that you're asking, because it's a very good question. Like, okay, she's saying this, President Trump's saying this. They sound like apples and oranges. And how could your director of national intelligence say one thing? So the reporters were asking President Trump, and I was curious. I watched it when it was happening. And President Trump's answer was, don't listen to that. Don't listen to her. Essentially, he really rebuffed her. And I don't know, what the backstory is. I don't know if maybe she got something. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt that maybe she had something different than he did, and maybe he's gotten more information since then. That could be the case. You never know. Also, again, as I brought up, he is the president of the United States. He has a lot more information and intelligence than Tulsi Gabbard would have, even though she's the director of national intel. He is the guy who gets the information from her, from FBI, from all these other world leaders. All these other folks are talking directly to him. So all I can say is it was a very clear response from President Trump that there's a lot more to it than what Tulsi Gabbard said. And I don't know what the disconnect is, or if she was reading it the way she wanted to read it. She is one of those people who doesn't really believe in going into wars. I believe she probably has good intentions because I like and respect Tulsi a lot. So she may be one of those people who wasn't, apt to go into war. I don't think anybody is. And I don't think President Trump is either. I think he's been pretty measured all along in terms of when to even consider going in, from the sky. I'm not talking about ground troops whatsoever. But I think maybe since she made that statement, either she didn't have all the information he had, or maybe since then he's gotten some new intelligence, because that could also be the case, Susan. Because remember, he's talking to President Netanyahu on the phone all the time. So maybe he has gotten a lot more significant intel, not just from Netanyahu, because I'm sure he would look all over the place on something as serious as this. Even if it's a great ally like Netanyahu, he's going to want a lot of confirmation, but he was very clear. So either he's gotten new info, or her interpretation was very different, and he's gotten something else to break, to add on top of all of that, to break it clear to him that Iran is absolutely, he said, weeks away. And in fact, today, Caroline Leavitt was asked specifically about this because it's such a big deal, Susan. And the reporters were like, did he really say they're weeks away from a nuclear weapon? And she said, yes, that is what he said. So, because they were trying to figure out the disconnect. I hope that answers it for you. Bottom line is the president of the United States has the best info in the world. He is clear that he believes that Iran was prior to the Israeli strikes, because he believes obviously they've taken out a number of these nuclear facilities. But he believes at that time, which was a few days ago now, about a week ago, they were only a few weeks away from a nuclear weapon. And that could not be more chilling. We're going to continue with your call. Susan, thank you for the sweet words about the big awards, too. That was so nice of you. You're so kind. And everybody, this is Rita Cosby filling in for my friend Roger Stone. We are taking your calls tonight because this is such an enormous news night. 1-800-848-9222.
The Stone Zone
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere, nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. They ship Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garten's famous cakes. So if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT.
The #1 selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku. And it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Hey besties, listen up. I have a secret to tell you. LinkedIn now has improved the job search experience for nurses. Search by your specialty, the shifts you want to work, and the salary that you want to make. With so many employers hiring on LinkedIn, finding the perfect job is even more simplified. So don't spend months searching. Go to linkedin.com/nurses and find out why in the past year, more than 1.5 million nurses have used LinkedIn to search for their next role. That's linkedin.com/nurses.
The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Breaking news.
And more big news coming in on the Israel-Iran conflict. This is Rita Cosby filling in for my buddy Roger Stone today. Israel being told that they need to evacuate their state television, essentially, that Iran is saying it's in their sights. And this comes after Iran hit the Beersheba hospital, where there were dozens of people wounded. They're claiming, we're really sorry. There was a military facility a few miles away, and we were aiming for that. So either they're bad liars or they have bad aim. Either way, it is not a good situation. You don't hit a hospital, especially with a children's ward and a whole bunch of other things. These people are savages. And clearly the Ayatollah is also in Israel's sights. We're just getting word from Israel that, going after the Ayatollah is not off the table. That could happen, and who knows, that could happen soon. Israel is hitting a number of these nuclear enrichment sites. but they've also gone after some other leadership folks, and now they keep talking about the Ayatollah. Wow, wow, wow. We're going to continue with your calls, guys, after the break.
The Stone Zone
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Shopping is hard.
I can never find anything in my size.
I don't even know my size.
I buy my clothes the same place I buy my groceries.
There's a better way. Make it easy with Stitch Fix. Just share your size, style, budget, and done. Your personal stylist sends pieces picked just for you.
That was easy.
Stitch Fix. Online personal styling for everyone. Free shipping and returns. No subscription required. Get started today at stitchfix.com.
Hi, welcome to IKEA.
This is my college campus.
Correct, but I see you're on IKEA.com ordering some college items.
My daughter's room is pretty bare. We need a lamp, some comfy pillows, her favorite stuffy.
Dad!
With pickup options, we've got what you need to conveniently order IKEA. Literally anywhere.
Sweet, more time for gaming.
And studying. Wait, where are you going now?
Have to show the ultimate Frisbee team how easy it is to order from IKEA. Get IKEA whenever, wherever, however you want. Choose from thousands of pickup locations, affordable delivery options, and more.
Choice Hotels get you more for your money so you can maximize any road trip. And as your vacation maximizationer, I'm going to make sure you hear the maximum sizzle of Comfort Inn's free hot breakfast. Let's get real close. Maximum apple. Now that's fresh crispimization. Maximum waffle. Hear that crunch. And that's maximum coffee. Oh yeah, that's the pour I'm talking about. Breakfast maximized before hitting the road. Check into more. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Your burger is served, and this is our finest Pepsi Zero Sugar. Its sweet profile perfectly balances the savory notes of your burger.
That is one perfect combination. Burgers deserve Pepsi.
The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And this is Rita Cosby in for my friend Roger Stone. And boy, what a busy news night. We are just getting word also from Israel. They are saying, quote, we will strike all of Iran's nuclear facilities. Now, that's a very important message. Not a surprise that that's their goal, but they are clearly signaling that they're going to hit all of them. And that would, of course, mean that Fordo facility, which is the one that is 300 feet deep, reportedly below a mountain range of limestone and other rock. And that would require potentially either a bunker buster that the U.S. has, a cluster bomb type activity where they would have to go in with these bunker busters simultaneously, one after another. One opens and creates the crater, and then another bunker buster bomb comes in afterwards and then goes deeper. Or the other question is, does Israel have some other plan to take out that facility, which is like the backup of nuclear production? Clearly something secret because they put it at the 300 feet below a mountain range. So you can imagine it's obviously something very big to the Iranian mullahs. But also maybe Israel has some sort of other strategy. Remember, they put off those pagers. So who knows what they got? Or maybe they have some sort of military technology that we are not aware of right now. So boy, oh boy, the stakes could not be higher. We're going to take your calls tonight because there are so many developments here. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. And also, you got to hear this. I can't believe this. President Barack Obama sort of joining the loony Democrat resistance, calling for a broad-scale Trump resistance. Give me a break. You were the former president of the United States, and you could make the case that right now, part of the reason that Iran is flush with cash is because Obama was so easy on them. Remember, he flew in the pallets of cash in the middle of the night, not even in U.S. dollars. It was in euros, so it could be sort of secreted. Remember going in? And he's sitting there saying, resist. You got a president that may be a wartime president, and you're dealing with this nonsense. It's ridiculous. But President Barack Obama, the former president, said the U.S., quote, is dangerously close to moving towards an autocracy, and we can't let that happen. And then he's also, inspiring the likes of people like Ilhan Omar. And every time I think of Ilhan Omar, I think of, somebody did something. Remember after 9/11? She's the one who put out the comments who said, 9/11, that was when somebody did something. It was called 19 hijackers unleashed hell on America. It's a lot more than somebody did something. She seemed like an apologist. To me, it felt like for these hijackers. Well, now she is trashing America, saying that America is the worst when it comes to human rights and other things. Are you kidding me? Have you seen what happens in Iran? Have you seen what happens in some of these other dictatorships around the world? Let's play Ilhan Omar because this is a reprehensible comment.
In a dictatorship. And I don't even remember ever witnessing anything like that. To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries where the military are in our streets without any regard for people's constitutional rights, while our president is spending millions of dollars propping himself up like a failed dictator with a military parade.
Are you kidding me? He did a parade to showcase America. I thought it was brilliant because it also was fitting in with his peace through strength. And here is Whoopi Goldberg. If you thought that Ilhan Omar was sipping the loony kazoonie pills, listen to what Whoopi Goldberg on The View had to say. I couldn't believe this. She was talking about the fact that she believes that African Americans in America, America has had obviously a troubled past. You think about the Civil War, and there are so many different issues tied to African Americans in the past. I'm glad that we have made enormous strides, but I don't think Whoopi Goldberg sees it that way, even though she's African American and extremely wealthy. So I'm not really sure what she's talking about here, but she actually is equating African Americans in America with the way that women are treated in Iran. And I just you think of what happens to women in Iran. And it came up on the discussion of one of these individuals, a woman, a very courageous woman who was, didn't want to wear the hijab. And they took her into custody, the Iranians. There are reports that they horribly sexually assaulted her and they horribly killed her. And there have been many stories like that of what they have done to women in Iran. And Whoopi Goldberg is somehow saying that America is just as bad as the regime in Iran. This is horrible. And again, it's on the precipice of we're wondering, what President Trump's going to do. He has one of the most difficult decisions that any commander in chief would have to face ever. You think about the potential of a nuclear weapon in the hands of a mad regime like the Iranian regime. And then you actually have people in this country who are, in front of the camera, have a microphone in front of them and are saying that African Americans in America basically are treated the same or worse than Iranians who rise up like this woman. This is nuts, but you have to hear it because everybody's talking about this.
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're black.
Guys, don't go to Tehran. Do not anyone at this table should go to Tehran.
Let me tell you about being in this country. This is the greatest country in the world. But, yeah, I know that. And we all know that. But every day we are worried. Do we have to be worried about our kids? Are our kids going to get shot because they're running through somebody's neighborhood? They are not big deals. And I don't mean to say they're not big deals to you because that's not what I meant.
And they are not doing well there either. They are not doing well in Iran. They are not educated. They cannot property. They cannot leave States.
I'm talking about here.
Nobody wants to diminish the very real problems we have in this country. That is no one's intent.
Good.
But I think it's important we remember there are places much darker than this country and people who deserve rights.
Not everybody feels that way. Not everybody feels that way. Listen, I'm sorry. You know, when you think about the fact that we got the vote in 1965.
Okay, they don't have free and fair elections in Iran. It's not even the same universe. They can't go out of their house. The women.
You know what? There's no way I can make you understand.
What a preposterous comment. And then here's a little more lunacy from Whoopi.
But let's just remember, too, the Iranians literally throw gay people off of buildings. They don't adhere to basic human rights.
Listen, here's the thing. Let's not do that, because if we start with that, we have been known in this country to tie gay folks to the car.
I'm sorry, but where the Iranian regime is today in 2025 is nothing compared to the United States.
Keep hanging black people. So
it is not even the same. I couldn't step foot during this.
Wait. That's not what you mean to say. It is the same.
No, it's not. The year 2025 in the United States is nothing like if I step foot wearing this outfit into Iran.
Killed for I'm sorry.
Well, they went like around. No, I can't have my hair showing. I can't wear a skirt. I can't have my arms out.
I'm telling you,
I literally said it was up to the Iranian people.
Yes, it is up to them. And that's why I am saying that it is the same. Murdering someone for their difference is not good, whoever does it. It's not good.
How could you ever equate what she was just saying in America, like one of the, by far, the freest country in the world? By far the freest country in the world. I've traveled a lot. This is the greatest, freest country in the world. And she's equating us to Iran, that they're essentially on the same page. She needs to travel. Can you imagine if you walk and you had like a gaze for Gaza? I always see these crazy loony kazoonie protesters out there that are in different places and they're waving the Gaze for Gaza sign. They would last about 5 seconds in Gaza. They would literally throw them off of the roof. Can you imagine? And she's sitting there saying that that's about the same as America. That is a preposterous comment, and it's ridiculous, and it's ignorant. And it's also at a time where the president is saying we're going in for the greater good of the world, and that's the best she can come back with. That is a disgrace, and that's an American saying that. Wow. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And let's go to Jim on line 4 in Afton, New York. Jim, your thoughts about this?
Hi, Rita. I think Israel has been spectacular in their response, and I think President Trump has a very dangerous chess game to play, because you're dealing with, lunatics. They're an apocalyptic version of Islam. They think that if they bring on the end of the world, they're going to have the 12th Imam come out of the well, and we're all going to be on Sharia law. The Ayatollah.
By the way, Jim, you forgot about the 30 virgins, too. You forgot about that they want to see Allah. Jim, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just saying that they have these images of the 30 virgins and Allah, and you hit it exactly on the head. That there's such a fanaticism. It's like the kamikazes, going into Pearl Harbor, the Japanese kamikazes who were willing to die for a cause. They're so fanatical, and that's a dangerous breed, right, Jim?
Yes, and you can't negotiate with them, because since you're an infidel, it's okay for them to lie, cheat, steal, and, you can't negotiate. And then with Israel, they don't have the aircraft to deliver what you need to reach the 300 feet in that mountain. I was listening to it might have been Blaine Holt, that the Moab, the mother of all bombs, it's 86,000 pounds. That has new.
Oops, I lost you, Jim. Hey, Jim, call us back. We lost you. But I remember earlier, I think the point that Jim was going to make when we spoke with Blaine Holt earlier on Katz and Cosby, the general was saying that these cluster bombs have capabilities, but that he firmly believed that they would require some sort of ground forces, not necessarily by any means like U.S. or anything, but that there might need to be maybe some Mossad or somebody on the ground there that could also trigger or at least help some sort of acceleration of it on the ground, or just to make sure it was taken out for the second phase. But he thought it would have to be something that would have some sky activity, obviously strikes from the sky. And also, he didn't rule out that maybe there is something else that Israel has that we just don't know about. Let's go to Fran in Massapequa on line 1. Go ahead, Fran.
Rita, congrats on your award. You're a winner, and we love you, and thank you for fighting for us and our rights.
Thank you, Fran. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You know what? I love you guys, and tell the truth and common sense. I feel like, I care about this country, and you do too. So thank you. You're very, very sweet. It's nice when you're picked by your peers, because it was picked by your peers. So that means even more, but thank you, Fran. What do you think is going to happen now with this? Because this is big stuff.
Well, the thing is, first of all, just real quick, those African American women with a lot of money and a lot of security, and they eat a lot of good food, and they have a lot of good things in life, and then they got the nerve to say what they say. Let's not forget that. The problem is we have too many rights in America, and you can see the left abusing it. And thank God for the African American and Spanish men in this country that finally woke up and said, we aren't voting for this junk anymore, and they voted for Donald Trump. Who cares? Now, getting on to the war.
And by the way, Fran, before I get you onto the war, you just reminded me of also, remember Obama during the campaign was scolding black men. Remember? And that totally backfired, because he was like, you guys need to hurry up and come out and vote, like shaming them. And African-American men afterwards came out and said, we don't need to be talked to. We don't need to be disgraced to like you got to vote for Kamala. It turned them off. So that was another powerful point as we're talking about Obama and his crazy comments now. What do you make of where this is headed, and what's your biggest concern, Frank?
That's what's great about you. You're 100%. The world hasn't been right since Obama's been the president. Let's remember that. What I think is this. The Israelis are doing the world's job. There's people with, on these countries in the Middle East that are saying, oh, my God, please get rid of this. You have to get rid of them. They've already said they want America dead, everybody. They want Israel dead, everybody. That's it. They've said it for years and years and years. That's what they want. Let's give it to them. Let's give them what they want. And then when Israel's done, they should say, who's next? We want peace. Who's next? And that's where you got to do it, because the only way to kill a bad person with a gun is with a gun. The only way to stop a bad person is with good people and Jesus and the Lord and whoever you believe in. That's it. These people, they don't care about nothing. They kill innocent people, women, they rape children, old people. They don't care. And the left is just insane. We all know that now. The news, there's certain channels that are crazy. We all know that. We all know that now. So now it's time for peace, or we get rid of you. Love you. You are the best.
Fran, thank you very much. A great message. And you know what? I do feel Trump is clearly putting out that message, like, I'm willing to come to the table. It's a great message. I actually think so far he has handled this really masterfully, because it's a tough balancing act. But he has said, look, I want peace. I want Iran to be a great country. I mean, he's always praising the people of Iran, not the leaders, but the people of Iran, the Persian people, predominantly Persian. And he's saying, it's a very well-educated, sophisticated society. I have friends who are Persian. I have a lot of friends who are tied to the resistance that are waiting for this moment, praying for this moment for years. And he's saying, if things can be great, Iran can be great again. I mean, that's his message. He really does want the best for Iran. But he knows that he's got to get the mullahs and this terrible regime that's inspiring these crazy zealots like we're talking about. And that's got to get out of the way. And obviously the nuclear potential has to be off the table 100%. They have to allow inspectors in. So 100%, we know that they don't just gear up again a few weeks later, or a few months or years later. All of these things. And he knows it. So he's also admitting strength, saying if you don't do it, you're going to be rubble. And often the fact that he is strong enough and clear enough and has a track record enough. He went after Soleimani when many others had the chance and did not do it. And he said, I'm going to do it because this is a bad actor. And this is a guy with a track record. The Iranians know it. And that's a good thing for peace in the world because he's not also trigger happy either. He's being smart, but he also is not afraid either. And that's a powerful combination. Boy, oh boy. Fran, thank you. You're terrific. 1-800-848-9222. And this is Rita Cosby filling in for the great Roger Stone.
The Stone Zone
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My favorite thing about Shipt since I signed up for Target Circle 360? No price markups when I order same-day delivery from tons of local stores. Only a handful of alcohol retailers and items don't count. I won't lie, I've had too much fun being like, markups on groceries? Not in my fridge. Markups on pet food? Not for my DOG. Markups on tools, electronics, home goods, meds? Not in my house. Anyway, it's awesome. Order now at shipt.com/360. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Hulu, presenting Paradise. Paradise is Hulu's critically acclaimed addictive drama series, starring Sterling K. Brown, Julianne Nicholson, and James Marsden. The Daily Beast calls Paradise your next TV obsession, and the New York Times says it's exhilarating in all the right ways. Paradise is for your Emmy consideration in all categories, including Outstanding Drama Series. For more information, visit fyc.hulu.com.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
Lights, camera, innovation. Walt Disney Studios chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform the movie-making process. Together, we kept a remote production hub in Hawaii in sync with a team in California to bring Lilo and Stitch to theaters this summer. This is picture-perfect collaboration. This is Walt Disney Studios with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
The Stone Zone, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And this is Rita Cosby filling in for the awesome Roger Stone tonight. We are taking your calls, 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Lou in Long Island on line 4. Lou, your thoughts about this?
Yes, I understand you'd have to send in troops to verify the destruction of those nuclear sites. But what about the radiation exposure to those troops?
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's an enormous, enormous concern. And, you know, I also think, Lou, that is part of the reason also Israel, it's not like they're hitting every site all the time. You see, they're hitting like one over here, one over here. And that's why, especially with that Fordo facility, they're being really careful. I'm sure that they are trying to figure out what to do because that's an enormous concern. You think about what happened in Chernobyl and some of these other things that we have heard throughout history. And you don't know. You know, the other thing, too, the other day when they believed that there was some hit or maybe a test potentially on a nuclear site, there were a couple earthquakes that were felt in Iran. So that's how serious and how big this is. And that is a major concern. Great point, Lou. Everybody, Bill O'Reilly's coming up next. And then I'll be back on the Rita Cosby Show at 10 p.m., everybody.
Thanks for listening to The Stone Zone with Roger Stone. You can hear The Stone Zone with Roger Stone weeknights at 8 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?